Hello everyone, I welcome you to the lecture series on artificial intelligence, and today our topic is agent and environment in artificial intelligence. Myself Dr. DIBYA JYOTI BORA. Well, let's start our lecture. So agent, what do you mean by agent? An agent can be defined as the one which can perceive its environment through sensors and accordingly acts upon that environment through effectors. You will see that I will keep those terms in bold which are important for you. Okay, just like here, sensors and effectors. So while going for defining the agent, I am focusing on two terms, sensors and effectors. And what are sensors? Sensors are those by which an agent can perceive its environment. Well, what does it mean? It means that through sensors, agent tries to retrieve some information from the environment. Got it? Then, effectors. What are effectors? While receiving those information through sensors, okay, so based upon some conditions, some actions needs to be done, and that actions will be done or will be carried out through effectors. So clear? So sensors through which information is perceived, effectors through by which some actions are conducted upon that environment. Okay. So as for example, if we consider us, that is a human agent, then what happens? It has some sensory organs like eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. Okay, and they will act as the sensors. Got it? So our ears, it will act as sensor to hear some noise or sounds, and then eyes, then nose. Okay, so they will act as sensor because through which we get some information from the environment. Okay. Like eyes will help us to see our environment. Then ears will help us to hear about that environment. Nose will help us to smell about that environment. Tongue will help us to taste about that environment. And then skin will help us to feel about that environment. So they are sensors. Now, we do have some other organs like hands, leg, mouth. And by them, we can perform something. So when we get some information through our sensors, eyes, are nose, tongue, skin, then our hands, legs, mouth, they will be used as effectors. Got it? And that is the case of human agent. But in case of robotic agents, sensors will be like cameras, infrared range, okay, and then effectors will be different motors, actuators for robotic agent. Then similarly, in case of software, it has some encoded bit streams to act as sensors and effectors too, because with some programs, some works will be done, and you know, in that program, through some parameters, we will provide the input, and inputs are the information. Okay, so these parameters are acting as sensors for that program. Clear? So I hope this concept agent is clear to you now. Okay, so agent consists of two important things, sensors and effectors. Now coming to environment. So what do you mean by environment? An environment can be defined as everything in the world which surrounds the agent. Like us, which surrounds us means the environment, okay, from which we can have information about the nearby area, about the nearby some events, isn't it? So like in case of agent, environment is everything in the world which surrounds it. Okay, but do remember that environment is not a part of the agent itself. It just surrounds the agent, but it is not a part of the agent. So environment is a situation in which an agent is present and accordingly it operates. So what exactly mean now? environment provides the agent with something to sense and act upon it. Got it? So that is the environment, and environment surrounds the agent and it gives something to sense, and accordingly the agent will act upon it. Now look at this figure, then it will be more clear to you. This is the figure for agent and environment. You'll see this is environment and this is the agent. Okay, so from environment, agent perceives information. Okay, and this is happening through sensors. Okay, so sensors perceives from environment, and when this perception is done, these effectors will help the agent to act upon that environment. Okay, so through these effectors, agents are performing some actions upon that environment. Clear? So sensors and effectors. Okay, some important terminologies are there related to environment and agent that you need to know. So first, agents. So what is behavior of agent? Remember, these are technical terminologies and very important for you. So behavior of agent can be defined as the action that agent performs after any given sequence of percepts. This means what? After any given sequence of percepts means a sequence of informations being retrieved, and accordingly after retrieval the action will be performed upon that environment through effectors, isn't it? So those actions that agent performs after that given sequence of percepts are known as behavior of agent. Clear? Then perceive you already know that this is the agent's perceptual input at a given instance. And do remember that here instance term is very important, because time to time this percept may be different, or accordingly we need to define the perceptual inputs with respect to some given instance, like 2 p.m., 3 p.m., okay, 6 a.m. So the different instance, different percepts may be there. Then percept sequence. So as I have said that the different time will have different perceptual inputs. So percept sequence is the history of all that an agent has perceived till date. So percept sequence will represent the history. Okay. Then agent function, and function you know, it is a map from the percept sequence to an action. So function can be defined as the map from the percept sequence, means for the percept sequence some informations are gathered, and based on those given information, or I can say conditions, some actions will be performed, and this map from the percept sequence to the action will be our agent function. Clear? Then performance measure of an agent. By this we usually determine how successful the agent is on its duty. Duty means how successfully or how rationally it acts upon the environment. Got it? So behavior of agent, percept sequence, agent function, performance measure. Clear? Then this term, rationality of an agent. In common day sense, or in common day words, what do we mean by rationality? We used to say like that person is very irrational, or that person is not rational or irrational. So what does it mean by rationality or rational? Rationality, we use this term for those people who act reasonably, sensibly, and offer some good sense of judgment, isn't it? So rationality is the status of being reasonable. Okay, reasonable term is clear to you, based on some facts how you are means behaving exactly. So that is known as reasonable. So rationality is the status of being reasonable and sensible, okay, and then having good sense of judgment. Clear? So these three combinations if a agent has, that agent will be known as a rational agent. Okay, so in case of agent, this rationality term will be defined as performing actions with the aim of obtaining useful information is the part of rationality. Clear? Performing actions with the aim of obtaining useful information is an important part of rationality. So rationality is a very important word with respect to agent, and by this we mean that agent is very good at performing the tasks with respect to gathering the useful information, and with respect to the working means reasonably, sensibly, and also with a good sense of judgment. Clear? Now, ideal rational agent, what does it mean? So ideal rational agent is the one which is capable of doing expected actions to maximize its performance measure on the basis of two things. First, its percept sequence. Second, its built-in knowledge base. So this definition for ideal rational agent is very important. So ideal rational agent is that agent by which we can expect that performance measure will be optimized through two important facts. The first one is percept sequence, second built-in knowledge base. Percept sequence, you already got that, a history of the different percepts at different instance, and accordingly a knowledge base will be there. And knowledge base means what? You know, database in DBMS. Database means we do store some important data, isn't it? So that we can use it in future, so that we can do some queries on that data stored in the database. Similarly, in case of AI, we have knowledge base that exactly performs the same as database. So built-in knowledge base means, yeah, for that agent, some knowledge base will be there where it is storing the knowledge, and that is it has perceived through different percept sequence. So ideal rational agent always tries to maximize the performance based on percept sequence and built-in knowledge base. Okay, then we always assume that rational agent always perform right action, and this right action means that the action that causes the agent to be most successful in the given percept sequence. That is very clear to you. Now, this thing will be measured, means the problem the agent solves is characterized by or measured by one important technical terminology that is known as PEAS. So P stands for performance measure, E stands for environment, A stands for actuators, and S stands for sensors. So PEAS will be very important for ideal rational agent, means by this we actually characterize that agents and agent's environment. And this PEAS I will discuss in the next lectures. Okay, because this is a very long topic, so I'll take time. Then that's why I am framing a new lecture particularly for PEAS, and that will be just the next lecture after this lecture. Okay, so if we define the structure of intelligent agent, then it will be like agent is equal to architecture plus agent program. What I have said, agent is equal to architecture plus agent program, and this architecture is the machinery that an agent executes on. Well, where agent executes, that is the architecture, and agent program means an implementation of an agent function. And agent function, I already told you, it is a function from a percept sequence to some actions. Okay, that is F from P star to A. Why P star? Because it may be from 0 to n number of times. Okay, so this is P star and this is A, and P star stands for the percept sequence and A some actions. So we define intelligent agent as summation of architecture and agent program. Clear? So guys, if you look at this figure, then this will be very clear to you. And see, this is the agent and this is the environment. and from environment, sensors perceives the information, and then based on this there will be a question like what is the world like now, and based on that what action to be done, and that will be determined some if then rules or some condition action based rules, and who will do that actions, actuators, and where these actions will be done upon the environment. So this diagram is more clear to you now. Environments, from sensors perceives the environment, and then from that it got what is the world like now, and then action to be done is determined based on some condition action based rules or if then rules, and who will done the actions, actuators will done those actions, and where it will be done, and it will be done upon the environments. Clear? So guys, we have discussed everything about agent, environment, and the relationship between agent and environment, and then some important terminologies related to agent, and then what is rational agent, or exactly what does it mean by rationality, and then ideal rational agent, and then PEAS, performance measure environment, actuators and sensors, and then we have seen structure of intelligent agent as a summation of architecture plus agent program. Okay, so guys, if you enjoy this lecture, do subscribe to this channel and share with your friends so that they will also get benefit from this lecture. Now coming to today's question, and these questions are very important. I hope you will comment the answers. So today's first question is fill in the blank. Agent is equal to architecture plus this. So you need to fill this blank. Okay. Next question. PEAS. PEAS stands for fill in the blank. Then third question. In case of humans, eyes act as effectors or sensors. You need to choose the correct option. So I hope you can solve this problem. So comment your answers. Then we'll meet in the next lecture, and next lecture we'll be discussing about PEAS. So till then, take care. Bye bye.